Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 106, written by Hedfonemusic. His life is exceeding the bounds of rational coincidence. Is this even real? For the past year or so, I've been noticing that things around me don't seem normal anymore. I continue to have this overwhelming sense that everything is fake in a way, or almost dreamlike. I've even kicked around the idea that I may have died already and I'm in a state of purgatory. I recently took my family on a weekend getaway to Seattle. Being a couple hundred miles away from our home in Selah, Washington, it's an easy trip for my wife and I to manage with our two kids, 11-year-old and 4 months old. Over the course of our weekend excursion, I experienced a few things that I found to be odd and left me feeling a bit uneasy. The first occurrence was trivial enough, but it sort of set the tone for the eeriness of the weekend. I was gazing out of the window of our hotel room on the 12th floor, sipping a cup of coffee, when I noticed a plastic bag drifting in the wind. I watched the bag dance around in the air as it slowly descended. A green dumpster 12 stories below caught my eye, and I immediately thought, what if that bag floated all the way down there and landed in that dumpster? I stood at the window for 5 minutes or so, watching this bag slowly float towards the ground, gliding left, right, back and forth. The more I watched the bag, the more confident I became that it would find its way into the dumpster, and it did. This bag that I noticed off in the distance drifted 12 freaking stories and perfectly navigated its way into the dumpster below my building. Later that day, I was in the hotel lobby, approaching the elevator to head up to my room. In front of me, there was a man with 2 children waiting for the elevator as well. The man had a guitar case strapped to his back, along with an amplifier and various other bags. His back was to me, and he had a hoodie on. For some reason, I thought to myself, what if it's Ed? Ed was a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in years. We used to work at an Olive Garden together in our younger days. We also played guitar together, and I did a fair amount of partying. Now here's the weird part, and my wife thinks I'm bat crap crazy, but bear with me here. The weird part was how confident I was that this guy was going to turn around and it would be Ed. The same confidence, almost certainty, I would say, that I had in that trash bag flying into the dumpster. The elevator doors opened, and the man and his 2 children walked inside. As the man turned around to enter the floor number on the elevator button console, it should not have been Ed that I recognized, but it was. It was Ed. We were both thrilled to see each other, and even held the door open to chat for a moment, hindering other folks in the process. Even as all this was occurring though, I couldn't shake the feeling that this isn't real. It's a very difficult thing to describe, but things just don't feel real. Later that evening, my 11-year-old son and I were on the balcony outside our hotel room. He was peering out over the edge when he suddenly whimpered out underneath his breath, "That poor guy." When I asked him who and what he was talking about, he said, "That bumblebee on the ground next to the dumpster. He's dead." We were on the 12th floor like I mentioned earlier. There's absolutely no way this kid could see a dead bumblebee on the ground floor. Not to mention that the alleged bee was laying next to the dumpster that was the manifested landing zone for the floating trash bag. We argued a bit over whether or not he could see the bee when he finally convinced me to go down and take a look. As we made our way down to the street level, my thought process shifted. That same confidence that I had previously regarding the trash bag and Ed was back. Although I didn't mention it to my son, I was becoming increasingly certain that the bee would be there. And well, it was. It was freaking there, right next to the green dumpster containing the trash sack. The next evening, I took the family to a place called GameWorks, which is similar to Dave & Buster's or an adult version of Chuck E. Cheese. I placed our car keys, wallets, and other important crap all into the diaper bag or backpack, and we carried it onto the establishment. We spent a couple of hours playing games before finally counting our tickets and claiming prizes at the prize booth. We pocketed the prizes and went down the block to the Cheesecake Factory for dinner. After being seated for a few moments, my wife realizes that I do not have the backpack on. The backpack containing all of our money, credit cards, car keys, and not to mention food and supplies for our 4-month-old baby. The bizarre thing is that I have no recollection of ever taking the bag off. Apparently I did because it was gone, but I could have sworn up and down that I never took it off. I immediately go into panic mode, leap up from the table, and take off towards the GameWorks establishment. I run inside and dart around frantically for about a minute or two with the bag nowhere in sight. Finally, I calm down and focus. After breathing and focusing for a moment, I'm greeted with that same confidence that I mentioned before. I was confident that I would not leave the place without my bag. At that moment, a man approached me waving his arms in the air, calling me by my first name. He said, "Here, Cody, I've got your bag, man. Now get back to the Cheesecake Factory and enjoy your dinner." I was awestruck and definitely besides myself at that moment, as I had no clue in hell who this man was or how he knew my name and where I was eating for dinner. I didn't even think to question the man. I reached out, grabbed the bag, and left. This might seem coincidental to a lot of you, but these are just recent examples of how my life unfolds daily. Either I'm a walking conduit of coincidence, or something larger is at play. My wife thinks I'm nuts, but things are definitely not the same as they used to be. I don't know how exactly or why, but they just aren't. Things just don't seem real. Case notes, file number 106. You know, there have been theories that since 2020, the world isn't real. We've been plunged into purgatory. I don't know about that personally. I haven't experienced these strange coincidences as you have, nor do I have this feeling that things aren't real. Your experiences remind me less of purgatory and more like the Truman Show, as if people are observing you outside of real existence, playing with your perception and sanity. If my current leading belief is correct, that we live in a simulation, perhaps you have some troll game mod playing tricks on you as a joke. I'm just trying to put a more positive spin on what is fairly unsettling, I imagine. With all that noted though, you said that these glitches or anomalies, coincidences, they're occurring to you daily. So it's not just about Seattle. If it's not location dependent, I wonder if it's just your perception, or indeed someone is messing with you. Case file number 107, written by O. POTUS. Another sock mystery. Just what's going on with socks? Seriously. This past Christmas, my older sister got me some funny socks that say, "Hide it in my sock." Lost sock randomly appears right when I decided to wash the other sock, since it's been on the floor for a while. It's not my type of humor, but hey, free socks. So after wearing them, I put them in the wash like anyone else. And I know socks have a tendency to go missing to God knows where, so I always try to fold my socks into each other before going into the washer and dryer. All my pairs come out of the washer, still folded into each other. But wait, where the heck is my second sock? I checked the washer, rotated around a couple times to see if it's stuck somewhere inside. I checked the whole laundry load thinking it's in a pant leg or a sweater sleeve. No dice. I checked the washer again, and this time in the rubber seam in between the door and the drum where coins usually build up. Still no second sock. I just blow it off since it's a weird color sock and doesn't really match my wardrobe. After months of having the lonely sock sit on my bed frame just in case the second one pops back up, I decide to add it to my morning laundry load. As I open up my washer, lo and behold, my second "hide it in my sock" is just sitting in the washer drum. I live alone, so I only use the washer and dryer, and I always rotate the drum after every load just to make sure I got everything. How come after months of laundry does my lost sock appear right when I decide to wash the other sock? My mind is blown over a sock. Case notes, file number 107. It's all the timeline builders. They build each minute, second by second, frame by frame. They just forgot your sock all these months, and then you reminded them by putting the other sock back in. No, but really, I have no clue what's happening to these missing items and why they sometimes reappear for us. It's enough to drive us slightly crazy. The universe trying to keep us on our toes, perhaps. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and head on to my channel to watch even more stories.